Well, hello there. We're going to look at this motorhome right here. This is my motorhome. It's a 1986 Toyota Sunrader motorhome, and as you can see, it has a fiberglass, molded fiberglass coach on it, and it's automatic, 2.4 liter 4-cylinder Toyota engine. Do a little walk around here. You can see it does have a air conditioner unit on the top. We'll start right here. This is like the grab handle for the side door, and it has a light for it. And this is the fuel, and this right here is fresh water fill for the freshwater tank. And this is the propane, and it has a little gauge there. Right now it looks like I got 3/4 of a tank. This is the water heater. This right here is freshwater inlet. Like if you're in an RV park, you can hook up fresh water here. This is a space for a generator. There's no generator in here right now. This compartment here is the house battery. There's a battery underneath the hood for the truck, and then this runs everything in the coach. It's also charged by the coach, by the alternator. And if you decide to hook up to a RV park or shore power, and this is the that's the cord. This is the back of the refrigerator. The refrigerator runs on propane or 110 shore power. This is the furnace outlet right here, and that's the exterior. Just a little bit of history on the Toyota motorhomes. The very first Toyota motorhomes were made in probably the mid to late 1970s, and they were quite light, and they were maybe 16 foot long, 17 foot long, and they had just a regular Toyota axle. The motorhome manufacturers got their cab and chassis from the dealers, and they were very popular, and as time went on, the motorhomes got longer, bigger, and heavier. And when they did, around 1979, the manufacturers put 2 other wheels on the single wheel axle. They weren't really a dually axle. So what happened was it was a little dangerous because the bearings would wear out and the axle would fail. And this brought some lawsuits and some concerns and so forth. And so what happened is they had a recall, and the manufacturers had to split the cost. I believe it was split the cost with Toyota to replace the axles, which was called a full floating rear axle. This is what a full floating true dually axle looks like. You can always tell by the big hub right here. So if you decide that you want to buy a Toyota motorhome, make sure you look for that. If it doesn't have that big hub there, then I would advise you don't buy it. And eventually in 1986, Toyota was supplying the cabin chassis directly to the coach builders, the Toyota motorhome builders, and they all had full floating axles. And this one here is this model here is a 1986, and so it has the full floating good axle on it. Because of the axle recall, a lot of the manufacturers, maybe 10 or so, something like that, they dropped out and they closed their doors. And so more history later. Let's look on the inside. As you come in the side door here, here it has a toilet and a shower, and it also has hot water, and it has a exhaust fan right here. And this is the cab area, and it has a cab over bed. And that insert right there is part of the mattress, and you can shove it in here, so you can have, I think it's considered a full-size bed. Has a curtain right here and lights on both sides. Coming over here is the kitchen, and we also have a monitor panel. There's the power, and then it has the battery condition and freshwater tank, monitor, and black water tank and gray water tank, and hot and cold running water in the sink. This is the sink here. It has a cover, and then we have a 4-burner stove right here. 4-burner stove, and this is a match light, and you can see the controls are here. And also, this is all like stainless steel, and then this is the oven here. You can see it in there. Okay. Cover. Also, you can pull out this little thing here for an extra counter space, or lower it. And range hood. This is the refrigerator here. It's a Dometic, and the model number is RM2400 gas electric, and it runs on gas and electric. This is it here, and I have a little temperature gauge there, and it has racks here, and they have the instructions like glued down here permanently, so you'll know how to light it. That's how you light it right there. And your fuel selection, you can put it to
gas or off or electric. So you can hook this up to a campground. And it does have a little freezer here too. There's the freezer. And it has a lock, so you can, while you're going down the road, you can lock the door if you think it's gonna come flying open. And right here is some drawers, and that's the furnace down there. And here is the control. It's all automatic. You turn it on, or right here, turn it on, and this is the current temperature, and then you switch your temperature here and it'll just light up and go automatic. I do have a little TV here. I guess that's a 9-inch screen, and I can plug it into an inverter. Now this is the inverter that I have. It's just a basic inverter, and I installed this myself, and it has 2 outlets here and the switch to turn it on, so I can run the TV or charge laptops or run other stuff. Now it does have a few outlets here, but those will work if you're hooked up to shore power. And it does have like a, this out of the way. That's like a cigarette lighter 12-volt outlet, and that's always hot. So you can always plug in 12-volt right there. I think I paid $15 for that TV. As you can see, there's cabinets all the way around here, and there's like a little shelf back there in the rear. That's the rear window, and a clock, cabinets here, and also there's like a little closet here that you can hang your clothes, and it has, and believe it or not, it has like a little light. That's the closet, and the dinette. And the dinette can seat 4 people. And this dinette will actually turn into a bed. And now it's a bed. Let's continue on about Toyota motorhome history. Now, one big turning point, okay, we already mentioned that in 1986 the whole axle thing was somewhat resolved, and the Toyota manufacturers, you know, Sunrader included, I mean, there was a lot of manufacturers that were still making them. But in 1989, something happened. Toyota started putting in a 3-liter 6-cylinder in their pickup line. I think it's called a 3REZ. But anyway, so that was a big difference, a lot more power, because this Sunrader here, I mean this Toyota motorhome, 18-foot, it runs out pretty good, you know, on flat land, but if you get on hills, you're gonna have to gear down. Now this one is an automatic. It's a 3-speed automatic, and it actually has an overdrive, but it's not advisable to use the overdrive. You won't get better gas mileage because it's a true dually, full floating axle chassis, but it's kind of like loaded down, so you don't really want to use the overdrive. You won't get better gas mileage, and it won't help. As a matter of fact, it might hurt the transmission if you use overdrive. So just use it without overdrive. Now, in 1989, the 6-cylinder came out, and it had a better automatic transmission. Now, all the Toyotas motorhomes, they also made 5-speed manual shift. But when that came, that was a big difference. And Sunrader was only manufactured between, say, like 1977 and 1991. I think the axle recall kind of did them in. But, you know, Winnebago and some other ones, they still made Toyota motorhomes. They were real popular. And in the 90s, they were still making them. And they usually made like a 21 foot. This is a 18. Sunraders were made 18 foot and 21 foot. Okay, so they got the 6-cylinder. They got the whole axle thing straightened out. So everything was good, right? Wrong. There was a problem with the cylinder heads on that 6-cylinder engine, and Toyota had a recall. Now I'm not sure if it was just that engine in general or just the ones that were on the cab and chassis, but the cylinder heads, there was something wrong with them, and they had to take them in, and Toyota had to foot the bill for the whole thing. I mean, you had to go to a Toyota dealer and they would replace them. Okay, so things were moving along, and by this time Toyota was getting a little upset because, you know, they went through this whole axle thing, and now the cylinder heads for the 6-cylinder, and they just refused to supply cabin chassis to the Toyota motorhome builders or manufacturers, and that was it. So if you ever wondered why you don't see any new Toyota motorhomes out, because, you know, people, they get good gas mileage, and as you know, the Toyota drivetrain is usually very dependable. Well, that's why, you know, Toyota just got out of it. Now I think it was just North America, because I think they actually still supplied cabin chassis to manufacturers in Australia and Europe, but, you know, those have the steering wheel on the other side, and some people actually import them in, you know, but they're not cheap. So anyway, I think that does it for the history. And, you know, there's a lot of people that have these Toyota motorhomes, and they're very passionate about them, and especially the 6-cylinder models, and they're usually not selling. And, you know, if you want to buy one, you have to look for a while, and it's usually a motorhome that's going to need some repair. And the ones that are really command a premium price are the Sunraders that are 18 foot that are 6-cylinder from 1989 to 1991. This one's 86, and it's a 4-cylinder. Oh, now one of the things that people always ask is, what kind of gas mileage do you get with this? I was driving this motorhome in Beverly Hills, and some guy pulled up next to me and wanted me to roll down the window, and he asked me, what kind of gas mileage do you get? Well, just running around in the city, I get around 11 miles to the gallon. Now, getting on the freeway, getting on the open road, I have got as high as 17 miles to the gallon. So roughly, you know, about 15 between city drive-in and getting on the freeway, which is darn good for a motorhome, because this has got, it's got a hot water heater, it's got propane, it's got a stove, it's got a refrigerator, it's got an oven, it has a toilet, and it has black water tank, gray water tank, fresh water tank, and hot and cold water in the shower. So there's a lot of things. Also, it has like a roof AC, and let me give it just a quick shot. There it is right there, and you saw it on the outside. The roof AC works pretty good in this thing. I was in Vegas at a campground, and it was like 100 plus degrees, and I had the roof AC going, and it kept it pretty cool. I was up in Idlewild once, and I had the furnace going. It was really cold. When I woke up in the morning, there was snow on the ground. I wouldn't recommend it. Don't. It's more of a fair weather camper type thing, but you can camp out in extreme weather if you want. Anyway, I think that wraps up the history portion of this video. You can see there, this is fiberglass, so it's not really that heavy. It's 5,500 pounds. Well, that about wraps it up. And if you want to watch any of my videos, you can. It's at my YouTube channel name is Sense of Style. It's right there. And that's it for now.